Closed.
Weather Center PM continues with highway and air travel conditions. Then the weekend outlook. And at 50 after is Storm Watch. But right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Good evening and welcome to Weather Center. I'm Warren Madden. Parts of Texas are under severe thunderstorm watches tonight. Severe weather has been affecting the region for most of the afternoon. For more on our top story, let's turn now to Mike Seidel in the Forecast Center.
And Warren, we do have some severe weather continuing now in Texas, north of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, south of the DFW area around Waco, and down towards San Antonio. Let's get to the area we're keeping our eyes on for the overnight hours. We're talking about the southern plains and also parts of the Ohio River Valley. But so far, the worst of the weather this afternoon, now into this evening, has been in central Texas. The other concern, too, is heavy rainfall on saturated ground, and many of you in south central Oklahoma, the Oklahoma City area, Ardmore, into Dallas-Fort Worth and Waco under flash flood watches for very intense rainfall on that ground, which can't handle any more water, and the risk of flash flooding is likely. Now, here's what's happened. The Storm Prediction Center has dropped the earlier tornado watches, which were going to be in effect until 9, and have replaced both of them with one severe thunderstorm watch area until midnight. This does include the Waco area and south of Dallas-Fort Worth. We're still waiting to get the county-by-county outline in on this watch. It just came out to find out if those of you in Dallas-Fort Worth are under a severe thunderstorm watch. Needless to say, even if you're near this watch area, which includes the Metroplex, you need to stay tuned to the Weather Channel and stay abreast of watches or any additional warnings. Let's talk about the worst weather right now, and most of this is now south and west of the Fort Worth area. A lot of storms now developing out to the west of Waco, showers and thunderstorms, and you can see them in motion now, moving off to the east-northeast. Those of you in Burnett County, Coryell County, Llano County, and Lampasas County, all under warnings. Those are these counties off to the west of Waco, and this is a particularly dangerous cell, this one right here, and that is affecting those of you in the areas in southern Coryell County and also in eastern Lampasas County. And it looks like a bit of a hook signature. And when we see that kind of signature on the radar, see how it kind of hooks back? That's a indicator of a possible tornado, again, right now from the Weather Service out of San Antonio and Burnett County and out of the Weather Service offices in Fort Worth. The warnings now are severe thunderstorm warnings, but just to keep you updated on that. And for those of you in Gatesville, over towards south towards Killeen and over around the Bee House and Topsy area, look out because this is a very dangerous looking storm. Meanwhile, north of Dallas-Fort Worth, up around Gainesville, up towards the Red River Valley, we've had some rough weather. Earlier we had a possible tornado, actually one sighted in Clay County. Right now we've got very heavy rains along the I-35 corridor, Denton, over towards Lake Dallas and up towards Sherman. But again, it looks like most of these storms, both areas at this point, will be squeezing the Dallas-Fort Worth area and missing a good deal of the Metroplex to the north and to the south. That's the way it looks right now. However, you can see evidence of new storms developing out to the west of Fort Worth. Meanwhile, heavy rainfall, south central Oklahoma. Again, we mentioned the risk of flash flooding, and this is primarily the concern here, not so much severe weather. Obviously, we've got a bad radar in there, but trust me on that one. We've got some heavy rain around the Oklahoma City area, all due to the moisture feeding in from the Gulf of Mexico. You can see that storm and that front. And that front is moving in, lifting up the tropical air from the Gulf of Mexico. We have a huge contrast in temperatures, some 40-degree difference between Dallas and Amarillo, plus a very strong jet stream. And just to give you a heads up, these storms will be around for the next several days, slowly moving east. So if you're watching from New Orleans, also the Birmingham area, and eventually Atlanta, also Memphis, Nashville, the Ohio River Valley, this whole area will be affected by severe weather this week, and we will keep you posted. So after a pretty quiet week last week, things are becoming a little bit more action-packed and more dangerous this week. We'll keep you updated certainly here at the Weather Channel. Of course, if you're away from your TV set, always check out the Weather Channel online service at weather.com. Now, let's go back to the studio. Warren Madden has more on the current weather, coast to coast, and your Monday forecast.
Thanks, Mike. The Mid-Atlantic states, as well as the Southeast and the West Coast, enjoyed a sunny Sunday, but it was a raw day from the lower Great Lakes into much of Pennsylvania and southern New England. Temperatures not all that warm out there. You can take a look at this right here and see that we have some cool air into New England, only 43 right now in Boston. We're looking at a temperature of 45 in Albany and in New York City. And see this lighter blue in here, northern Pennsylvania over in toward northeastern Pennsylvania, southeastern New York, even some 30s hanging around. We actually saw snow off and on at Bradford, Pennsylvania during the course of the afternoon. Look at this. This is the temperature change over the last 24 hours. 18 degrees colder right now than it was this time last night in Pittsburgh. 17 degrees colder here in New York City. So a much different Sunday night than you saw Saturday night in terms of temperature, because this front has been stuck over the area all day. And with that front, we have seen rain, though it has pushed gradually southward as we've gone through the day. As you can see, still some light rain in the Boston area, but you head up into northern New England, dry right now, dry across much of New York State. However, as we move southward, we see that New York City seeing some heavier rain around JFK out onto the island. Also heading in toward Harrisburg. Over in Pittsburgh, looks like it'll be drying out for you here shortly, but the rain moving down in toward Washington, D.C., some thunderstorms around Baltimore. We move farther to the west, and you can see the rain extends into Ohio. Some heavier rain over around Columbus in the last hour. Looks like maybe some thunderstorms rumbling into the Cincinnati area, perhaps across the river into the Covington area. Let's focus in on this area a little bit, because we have seen some stronger storms, and we could still see some stronger storms. You can see some reds showing up here on the echoes right around Bloomington, so watch out Bloomington and in general south of Indianapolis as these storms work their way eastward. Meanwhile, farther to the west, just on the edge of our screen here, we can see Chicago here. You're drying out now, but earlier today it was a damp day in the Windy City. Many of you had your windshield wipers going full force, and your umbrella's handy in the Windy City. You had to bundle up. Temperatures only hit the mid to upper 40s. Oop, there goes that umbrella. Winds were gusting to more than 30 miles an hour, as that umbrella will certainly attest. Right now we're looking at some rain here in the Great Lakes, also some snow heading down into the higher elevations of the southwest in New Mexico in particular. Also some thunderstorms rumbling around, especially here heading into West Texas, as Mike was telling you about. Current temperatures now still mild here in the southeast and in the west coast, but chilly into the northeast. As we go into the forecast, Boston, your morning low down to about 41 degrees, some showers. In Washington, D.C., again, watch out for the threat of severe weather for your morning commute. Little Rock reaching down in toward Texarkana and Shreveport. Not bad in Chicago, but on the chilly side, 38 for your morning low, partly cloudy skies. The west coast, hey, no problems at all. Temperatures in the 50s from San Francisco to San Diego, 45 for Portland and Seattle. As we look at the low temperatures, again, ahead of our storm system, quite mild as we continue to pump that moist, mild Gulf of Mexico air northbound. Our front still stalled out across the mid-Atlantic states during the morning, sagging slowly southward. We'll see some cooler air sinking into the northeast and maybe even some snow showers into northern New England. By the evening, the threat of severe weather ahead of that front, Arkansas reaching down into Louisiana. Heaviest amounts of rain could see 3 inches or more in Oklahoma, heading down into the Red River Valley. Another very mild day across the southeast for your Monday, but the west coast, hey, look at that, the Central Valley in the 80s. Almost.
Tropospheric undulations every night on Weather Center PM.
In the next half hour, Weather Center PM, a comprehensive national forecast. At 40 after, Weather Center PM continues with highway and air travel conditions. Then the weekend outlook. And at 50 after, Storm Watch. But right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Well, forget spring in New York City tonight. Rain and a chilly wind are making it very difficult to think about the new season. Hello, I'm Kim Perez, and welcome to this edition of Weather Center.
And I'm Warren Madden. A similar story tonight in parts of Colorado where snow has been piling up on this Sunday. We'll be talking more on that in just a couple of minutes, but right now we are tracking some potentially dangerous storms. Mike Seidel has an update from the Forecast Center.
And Warren and Kim, again, another rough night in parts of Texas. We've had several quiet nights across the country as far as severe weather goes. It has been a very deadly spring so far, and tonight we have had a couple of tornadoes touch down. No reports, though, of any injuries, just minor damage. Let's go to the maps and show you where we're watching for you this evening, and we're including a good deal of northern and central Texas. Later on tonight, over around the Little Rock area, you may be awoken by some thunder and lightning. We also have a secondary area in the Ohio Valley. But again, our concern right now would be this area right here in Texas. Now, the earlier tornado watches have expired, and they have actually been replaced by a severe thunderstorm watch, and this is up until midnight. Includes the Austin area, Waco, not quite as far north as Dallas-Fort Worth, but again, if you're near the watch area, you can have severe weather, and that's what's occurring, as we'll show you here on the radar in the Dallas-Fort Worth area right now. Let's go to the radar, and you can see storms which have developed very quickly over the past hour or so out to the west of Fort Worth and to the south of Dallas. We now have some rough weather out there just west of Fort Worth, out there in Parker County around Weatherford, over towards Reno and Agnes, moving in towards Fort Worth. So watch out in Tarrant County. There are the storms. They've blown up out of nowhere in the past hour to hour and a half. And look at this cell, which has developed just off to the south of Dallas, in Ellis County and Johnson County. These storms now moving up towards DeSoto, into the Dallas-Fort Worth area, into Dallas County itself. So again, if you're in those southern suburbs of Dallas, out around the DeSoto area, Lancaster, Duncanville, and over towards I-45, we'll look out for some lightning, thunder, and heavy rainfalls. Now, moving south, a lot of severe weather tonight around the Waco area. In fact, earlier we had a tornado touchdown near the town of Avant. That's off to the west of Gatesville, well west of Waco. And right now we have warnings out from Elam County, also from Falls and Bell County, and for Blanco County. Those are these counties right here north of Austin, between Austin and Waco. Most of the action now along and just to the west of I-35. That's where the worst storms are occurring right now. Now let's go right in on the Doppler radar, and we had a possible hook echo earlier. You can see what's left of it there. and that's in extreme western Bell County. Now that storm has moved into the eastern part of Bell County and is headed over into those areas which I mentioned, Falls County, for instance. So if you're watching tonight for Moorville, Marlin, Temple, up towards the any area off to the south and east of Waco, this is a very dangerous sail, likely packing wind gusts in excess of 60, maybe 70 miles an hour. And again, right around the radar site around Temple and the Killeen area, some very dangerous weather. Now moving north, we get into Oklahoma, and we have a severe thunderstorm warning now northeast of Durant in Atoka County until 9:15, and flash flood warnings continuing in a couple of counties for about another 10 minutes, Jefferson County and Stevens County. In addition to the severe weather, this whole area right in here is under a flash flood watch. That means conditions are favorable for flash flooding. The ground is saturated. Some of you have already had at least 2, if not 3 inches of rain. You can see this rain is hovering over the same area, and the situation will not improve itself. A slow-moving storm and a pretty rich inflow from the Gulf of Mexico supplying all the moisture. And that cold front is moving in and lifting up the atmosphere, lifting up that warm, moist air, and leading to the severe thunderstorms, which are producing the prolific rainfall totals. So again, right now, the good news is the tornado watches have been replaced with a severe thunderstorm watch. There are no tornado warnings right now, but those of you in the Waco, Killeen, Temple area from Austin up I-35 to Waco, anywhere near and especially now east of I-35, stay away from the windows and seek shelter because these storms are rolling your way very quickly. Of course, you can always check us out online if you're away from your TV set at weather.com, the Weather Channel online service. Let's check out that Monday forecast and get the rest of tonight's current weather from Warren Madden.
Well, we hope you don't have to be outdoors tonight in the Northeast and across much of the Great Lakes. Kind of a cold and in some cases wet night. Just not the greatest night to be out and about. Reason why? Well, as far as the wet goes, you can blame that stationary front that has just planted itself. It's taken up residence from Indiana across southern Ohio and across the panhandle of Maryland and then reaching out over the northern Chesapeake Bay region and the Delmarva Peninsula. Right along that, we do have some rain, and we have some rain extending up into eastern New England. We'll be looking at radars here in just a moment. Want to look at the temperatures, though. You can tell where that front is. Look, you're 56 in Elkins. You come north of Pittsburgh, 44. 53 in Washington, D.C. Come up to New York City, drops to 44, 42 in Boston. We're already at 38 in Elmira. We're now about 17 degrees colder than we were this time this last night in Pittsburgh, 16 degrees colder in New York City. So some colder air sliding down with the cold front that is, again, stalled out. Here's what it looks like on the radars now. We'll work our way westward. We'll start into New England. Still a few showers. Looks like the best area of showers, the best chance that you're still seeing rain over the islands. But maybe a few showers here. Boston heading south toward Duxbury and Plymouth. As we head farther south ourselves into New York City, still seeing some heavier rain. Also out onto Long Island.
10 p.m. tonight and every night. In the next half hour, Weather Center PM, a comprehensive national forecast. At 40 after, Weather Center PM continues with highway and air travel conditions. Then the weekend outlook. And at 50 after, Storm Watch. But right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
You can pretty much forget spring in New York City tonight.
I just did. Yeah, I forgot.
What did we forget?
Spring.
That's right. Rain and chilly wind are making it difficult to think about the new season. Hello, everyone. I'm Warren Madden. Welcome to this edition of Weather Center.
All right, we may remember spring in a while. We'll get back to it in a couple of days. I'm Paul Emick. It's a very similar story in parts of Colorado, too, with the snow that's been piling up on a Sunday. So much for spring. We'll talk more on that with the snow coming down. Right now, we're tracking some really rough and potentially dangerous storms. Mike Seidel has an update now from our forecast center. Mike?
And Paul and Warren, tonight spring has brought its wrath of severe weather so far. We've had a lot of fatalities. Fortunately, tornadoes this season have hit in populated areas, and that has been a real problem. Tonight, though, only two actually tornadoes have touched down, one causing some minor damage off to the west of Waco, but no injuries. Let's get right to what's going on. As far as the area we're watching for the overnight hours, northeast Texas, central Texas, right up through Arkansas, and extreme southeastern Oklahoma. Plenty of showers and thunderstorms continuing in those areas. However, the good news is we haven't had any real problems, at least with actual sighted tornadoes now, for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. The storms tend to be producing a lot of heavy rain, a lot of gusty winds and lightning, and the risk of flash flooding, but no sightings of a tornado now for a couple of hours. Those tornado watches earlier this evening, if you were watching, have been replaced by the severe thunderstorm watch. They were going to expire at 9, and before that even happened, the Storm Prediction Center put out this severe thunderstorm watch, including central Texas from Dallas-Fort Worth, south of those areas, down towards Waco and Austin. And even though you're not officially in the watch in the Metroplex, that doesn't mean you can't have severe weather, as you've seen some rough weather in the past half an hour or so in Dallas and Tarrant counties. Our first stop, though, will be south of there. And this is a storm we've been following. In fact, there is still officially a tornado warning for Travis County. The confusion was that they had a severe thunderstorm warning out. Then they put out the tornado warning on top of that and left the time the same. If you were watching half an hour ago, we were concerned that the window of that tornado warning was a little lengthy. So we talked to the folks at the Weather Service in Austin, San Antonio, and they're telling us they'll likely cancel this tornado warning before it expires at 10:10, which is about another 40 minutes from now. But you can see the cell now exiting. Okay, we just found out that the tornado warning in Travis County has been canceled. You can see the cell and Doppler radar exiting Travis County and now heading into those areas off to the south and east, and that would be Bastrop County. So again, this cell, which had a signature of a possible tornado based on Doppler radar about 45 minutes ago, that tornado warning just canceled by the Weather Service there. But look out in northwestern Bastrop County, out around Del Valle, Cedar Creek, and Elroy, because this storm still means business. Otherwise, we've got dangerous storms up and along I-35. That would be the corridor between Killeen and Waco. The Temple area hit hard with high winds and heavy rains. You can see those storms now moving east of those areas over towards the I-45 corridor. So look out anywhere from Corsicana, Navarro County south towards the Freestone County area and all the way down towards Huntsville. You may even get clipped in the Bryan College Station area by severe weather. Now, earlier we had some rain in Dallas County, the southern part of that county. Look at these storms now right on the Dallas-Tarrant County line. And again, those of you in the Big D, certainly no stranger to severe weather at around Irving, Grand Prairie, Duncanville, and up towards Carrollton. Look out, these storms are moving from Tarrant now into Dallas County, and those of you in the western side of Dallas will get the rain first, and the lightning and gusty winds then heading over towards Garland, Mesquite, and Balch Springs in the next half an hour or so. More heavy rains tonight in Oklahoma. That has been the big problem in Oklahoma, has been heavy rainfall. Flash flood watch is continuing for this part of Oklahoma, also in the north central Texas, and we now have severe weather in southeastern Oklahoma. See how this line is kind of bowing out? Expect wind gusts here as high as or maybe exceeding 70 miles an hour. Because of that, warnings now out for Latimer and southern Pittsburgh County, southeast of McAllister. They're moving east-northeast at 45. The warning out until 10:15 tonight. So good news in Austin. The storm has moved through. You were hit pretty hard as far as rain and wind. We've had no reports of any damage or injuries, and the tornado warning has just been canceled. Of course, we'll keep you updated throughout the night here on the Weather Channel. If you're away from your TV set, you can always go online at the Weather Channel online service at weather.com. Now, with the rest of the current weather, it's happening. Ohio Valley and Northeast, and your Monday forecast. Here's Warren Madden.
Thanks very much, Mike. We hope you've called it a night and are safely indoors tonight in the Northeast and across much of the Great Lakes. Cold and in some areas wet tonight. Not a great night to be still outside. Situation is we've got a stationary front that is slowly, and I do mean slowly, moving southward. It's just kind of oozing south here across the Ohio River, heading in toward the Shenandoah River Valley and over in toward the Delmarva Peninsula. And it's along this that we've been seeing the heavier rain. And you can really see the difference in temperatures on either side of the front. 46 in Philadelphia, 53 in Washington, D.C. You come up to Elmira, you're almost down to the freezing mark. That's how cold things are dropping already. We could drop below freezing across parts of western New York and northern Pennsylvania during the overnight. 17 degrees colder than this was this time last night in Pittsburgh right now, so definitely a drop-off in temperature. The rain moving a little bit south as well. It's now drying out in Boston for the most part. Still some light drizzle being reported across eastern Massachusetts. Some of the heavier rain looks like moving just right over Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard over the next hour or so. We move south. We've got the rain starting to move a little. Looks like it'll